In this video, I'm actually going to show you guys the only 3 trading strategies that work when it comes to trading meme coins. I'm going to start from easy all the way up to advanced, so you'll know exactly which trading strategy is going to be best for you. So let's not waste any more time and let's jump right in. Now, the first trading strategy, this is by far the easiest trading strategy. However, it does take a bit of time to see profits, but this one is essentially the most profitable and the least risky strategy when it comes to actually buying meme coins. The reason is you're essentially buying coins that are already at decent levels. And this is by far the easiest thing to do. And I'm going to show you guys exactly how this strategy enables people to actually make money in the market. Now remember, this is just the first strategy. And your goal here is essentially to buy and hold good communities. Let me show you guys some clear examples of when this worked recently and why it's a repeatable strategy that individuals continue to use. So essentially, your goal here is to analyze tokens and communities that are buying the token and not selling. You ideally want a community that is growing organically through shared ownership and common interests. This is Italian Rock. This is one of the most recent examples of a coin that went completely viral based off just organic news. Now, we can see that the coin has 3 clear stages. Firstly was the initial launch of the coin. We can see that the price actually shot up to around 600K. And then after the initial hype faded, we can see that the price actually went back to around 30K market cap. But I want you guys to notice something important here. Notice how it didn't go all the way down to 6K, 8K market cap. It actually held around 20K market cap. This was because this trend was really original. Most people know what these brain rot Italian characters are. And because of that, people kept buying the token and many people kept holding on to this token. That led us to have phase 2, where once again, the coin rose in popularity. And once again, even after rising the second time, we can see it managed to hold at around 200K. And then after that, it went up even higher. And this is where we saw a base form at around 500K. So when you start to see projects and coins that are holding clear support levels for a very long time, and they've already had a run up and they haven't died, this is clear indication that these coins are having strong communities and are having holders that are continuing to increase. And the reason that this is how generational wealth is made in meme coins, and I know that sounds like a complete exaggeration, but you have to think about it. If you bought this at around 20K here and you held till around the middle market cap, you're making so much money. And remember guys, this is an accumulation phase. Every single time price went down to around 400K, it rocketed back up because more and more people were entering the coin. And then of course, finally, you have the explosive phase where the coin goes up another level. And right now we can see that the previous highs of that was around the 3 mil market cap. And it's quite likely that the coin is probably going to make even more highs once again. Now, how do we identify these coins? There are 2 main things. Number 1, we have to make sure that these coins have a strong community and organic reach. If people are being forced to put fake narratives out there and essentially, poor marketing materials out there, of course that is really good, but ideally you want to see a trend that already exists in the public eye. This trend called Italian Rot, it's already a global trend that many people did know. And I do remember seeing this at the time. It was just being made by random people on the internet. So it wasn't something that community members had to go out and post themselves. Now, another thing, this is a key thing that you do want to know whether or not a coin is having an accumulation phase, is to watch the holders. Now, right now, we can't actually tell whether or not this coin is, having more holders or less holders. So what I actually did was actually built a tool. So I'm going to click this button one time and I'm just going to wait 2 seconds. And we can see right here that this is a tool that essentially shows me exactly how many holders the coin has and the change in the holders. Now, most websites don't have access to this stuff, which is why I built something that actually analyzes the DEX Screener API, which is why I actually built something that analyzes the holders and it actually gives you much more accurate insights than DEX Screener. We can see the actual holder count is 6,988, whereas this is actually reporting 7,000. And what's really interesting is that it actually holds this metric, the holder change. So over time, we can see how many holders have been acquired in the last 7 days. We can also see how many holders have been in the last 24 hours. That is a powerful insight because it shows us whether or not people are actually buying the coin and holding the coin or they're losing holders. If this coin was losing holders over the last few days and price hadn't moved anywhere, I would know that people are selling the coin and I wouldn't be bullish on this coin. But if there are increasingly holders and holders and holders, I know that eventually this coin is going to have more legs up as more people buy into the project. Now, this one is a little bit tricky because in the last 24 hours, we lost 85 holders, but in the last 7 days, we gained 353, and we also gained 51 holders in the last hour. So it is a little bit difficult. The signal does say buy here, but it is, more towards the top area. So it is a little bit difficult to judge whether or not to buy. I still think this is an organic trend. And if you do want access to this indicator, it is in my community. All you need to do is just add this extension to Chrome. It's super, super simple. Once it's added to Chrome, then just hit the extension button, then just hit the Taper Monkey extension. All you need to do now is click create new script. Then over here, just delete this information. So then you want to come over to my community, click the classroom area, come on over to the tools. Then you'll just see all of this code right here. Either just copy this code or download this file right here. It's completely up to you. Then once you've downloaded the file, just make sure you open it up with Notepad. And now we have the code right here, which we can just literally copy and we just literally paste it here. And now we literally just click save. And now we can see that we have our indicator here. Now we can see that this is actually enabled and running. And now it's actually going to give us these holder insights that we so desperately need. And that's why I actually built that for my community, because it's actually really hard to judge whether or not a coin is actually gathering holders or actually shedding holders. So this is something that you do need if you're actually trying to figure out which projects you want to be holding. So there was another project as well that we can also look at. So there was this one called Troll. So this one was super, super crazy because there were 2 different coins that were competing for the space. But we can see once again here, this was a coin that pretty much didn't really have such an accumulation phase because there were massive influences involved. But what we can see from this is that this is once again a project that slowly ramped up in terms of its, ability to go higher. One of the things that we can clearly see here is that every single time, if we grab a horizontal ray and we place it at the recent highs on the hourly chart, price action comes all the way up. And then anytime it comes back down, it doesn't stay there for long. And then it previously goes up to a new high. And then once again, we can see that price action comes back down and moves higher again. So what I'm trying to say here, guys, is that some people, all they do is they find a community, they're searching on Twitter, they're searching on the websites. And then when they see that community is continually gathering new holders, more people are buying into the token, people aren't selling, that is going to be a project for a long-term investment. Now, how you make money with this is, let's say, for example, you see this at 3 mil market cap, you could actually potentially put in $1,000. Now, let's say you put in $1,000 at a 3 mil market cap. Remember, guys, it's not financial advice. You could, of course, make $3,000 from that, providing that you held that all the way to 20 mil market cap or even a 30 mil market cap. Yes, it is very risky because most coins don't go to a 40 mil, 30 mil market cap, and most people wouldn't hold all the way. But this is how those top traders that you're seeing making 100K, 30K, 40K, 50K, that is how they're doing it. They're risking large amounts and they're just going for smaller percentage gains. Rather than chasing an 100x, they're putting in $1,000 and just hoping that it doubles. And with meme coins, if you know what you're doing, it can be a lot easier. Now with this current coin, I can quickly analyze this and take a look at the holders. And we can see that overall, in the last 7 days, they did actually lose 32 holders. But in the last 24 hours, we did gain 16. So overall, this is not too bullish, but it's not too bearish. But considering it's already at 23 million market cap, this is not something that I'd personally be buying. Ideally, you want to go on Dex Screener, and then what you want to do is you want to look for a pair that's older than 48 hours. So that's essentially 2 days. And you want to look for market caps that are above around 300K, because this allows you to find coins that have already taken dips. So now we can see here, if I actually just go again on my filter and I make sure that this is on Solana, and I click apply, we can now actually see tokens that are 2 days old, which means they've already survived initial drawdowns. And these tokens are already ones that people are holding. All we need to do now is A, figure out if the holders are increasing, and B, figuring out if the community is active and there are future catalysts for this to go even further. So for example, there's one here called Moonpig. We can see that this one has 7 days ago. I'm going to analyze that. We can see that Chill House has been 8 days ago. I'm actually going to look at some here. There's one 2 days ago called Brazilian Funk. Let's actually check that out. And so this is kind of an interesting one because we can see here that the coin spiked at around 300K, but when it went down, it didn't go all the way down to like, 6K or 12K. It went down to 40K, and we can see now it's back at 300K. So when I want to check the holder count, this is what I do. I'm just going to pull up this. It's actually just going to load all of that data right now. And we can see that in the last couple of days, it's actually just been increasing in terms of the holders. We can see that in the last 24 hours, they've added 100 holders. In the last hour alone, they've added 22 holders. In the holder distribution, we can see that there are some whales, sharks, dolphins, fishes, and octopuses. So it's actually a decent distribution when it comes to looking at how big this project could get. So if I was investing, I probably might actually start to dollar cost average into this coin, meaning buying small amounts because the community might be active. So now that I've seen that it's increasing in terms of the holders, The only thing I need to do now is let me just close this. I just need to go onto their Twitter. I'll just need to go onto their Twitter, and then I can just check what's going on here. And now you can see there's something called a Fonk World Order. And we can see that the community is relatively active and they're still posting almost every single day. So we can see that they're posting every couple of hours, which is super, super interesting. Football clubs are using Fonk songs. So this is a active community that didn't just buy into the coin and sell, but it seems like a lot of people are stating this is going to be at millions soon. So this is one of the tokens that, of course, I probably would even talk about in my community. This is where I share various different plays. You can see recently I shared a play that managed to get us 10x. We can see recently I actually posted something at a 13K market cap. It actually went to 50K, then it went to 100K, and then it actually went to 150K. And I told everyone to sell, and that resulted in a 10x. Of course, you do want to make sure that you're a part of a community. That way you can share ideas and you can go back and forth about whether or not to buy certain tokens. So from this one, maybe this token might actually just flop in a few days. But overall, we can see the community is active. There's future catalysts. The holders are steadily increasing. The only thing it needs now is probably some future volume. Of course, this is another example of what beginners and some of the biggest traders do as well. We can see here that this coin is a clear example of a coin that just continues to accumulate more and more holders. We can see that it literally started at around 300K and it's literally just been going up and up and up. And every single time it's managed to find a sort of bottom, it's just continued to move higher and higher and higher. We can see literally every time that these tokens have managed to find their bottom, we can see right here, it managed to drop. We can see right here that the price managed to drop down, but it then went all the way above. It managed to drop down here, went all the way above, went down, and we can see once again, it's also going back above again. The point I'm trying to make here is that the coin manages to find support at key levels, which is indicative that there are clearly some buyers stepping in to push the price up further. Now, do I think this price could go up further? Honestly, it's anyone's best guess. But if we take a look at the holders over the last couple of days, we can see that potentially things are a little bit confusing because in the last 24 hours, we lost 100 holders. We've also gained 24. So for this coin, it might not be the very best, but nonetheless, it's still a powerful insight that gives us more information to make a more informed decision. Now, this one is rather strange because if we do go on Twitter, there doesn't seem to be a massive community around it. I mean, it does have a lot of likes. It does have a lot of favorites, and if we do go to the community, we can see that some people are still there being very active. Now, I don't know of this meme on Twitter or TikTok. I haven't really seen it on social media, but there are many memes that we really just don't even know exist. So overall, that is strategy one, where you simply hold meme coins, and that's where you're able to move forward in the markets. Most people do skip this because you can make money quickly, but holding meme coins, provided the community is adding holders and most people aren't selling, and there are future updates that are coming, could result in massive gains. Some meme coins go all the way to 100 million market cap. And if we take a look at this coin here called House Coin, we can see that those accumulation phases were very clear. Price action, once again, it comes up, it accumulates slowly, goes further, comes back down to accumulate, goes further, accumulates, goes further, still has an accumulation phase. And then sometimes it just eventually explodes. And maybe we'll see some of the coins we spoke about in today's video explode in a few days. Now, the next strategy is difficult, but it isn't impossible. This is what a lot of day traders do. And this is essentially where people scalp meme coins. Scalping basically just means you're making quick trades for small profits. Now, you can make big profits here, but the goal is to make profit within seconds to minutes and earn a few percentage on each. For example, your aim is to buy a coin after it dips 50%, and hopefully it goes back to where it went so you can gain a quick 100%. And in order for this to be rather effective, you actually need to have high volume. And this is what many people do in the markets, which is what you'd call them meme coin day traders. Now, the reason I say this is rather difficult is because you need to be able to be super quick. And let me show you guys some real examples. This is AXIOM Trade, and this is by far the best platform when it comes to trading meme coin. And in a moment, I'm going to swap to literally a video of me recording a video and showing you guys how I scalped a meme coin literally in the middle of me making a video. Essentially, what I saw that price was actually moving up and down very quickly, and I entered with a decent amount, and I was able to sell really quickly. Now, why this is effective, but it's also pretty dangerous, is because meme coins swing so much that you can lose money just as quickly as you gain money. So let's say, for example, I see a token that has so much volume and so much liquidity. Usually this happens on the new coins. So for example, if these coins are jumping around like here, basically, most people don't realize that percentage gains allow you to make massive moves. So let's say, for example, the coin actually came down to around like 7K right here. And let's say I bought in with $400. If the price goes from 7K or 6K all the way to, 11K, that would actually make me $200 profit really quickly. Now, some people use smaller amounts, some people use larger amounts, but this is something that I personally do on a day-to-day basis sometimes. When you're seeking quick profits in chaotic markets, this can definitely allow you to profit really quickly. Now, the reason that this is actually hard is not because it's hard to trade. It's because number one, you're gonna have to be on the 5-second chart, which means you're looking at 5 seconds of worth of candles. Some people, completely, absolutely insane traders, look at the 1-second chart, which means every single bar here is 1 second. So it's quite likely to move really quickly. But the only other thing that you're gonna have to do as well is you're gonna have to make sure that you can get in and out of positions really, really quickly. And the problem with that is that when you're trading either low cap meme coins or meme coins with high volume, you don't know if the dev is about to rug, if someone's about to have a huge sell. Because for example, if I just bought in right there, let's say for example, I bought in with $1,000, I'd be down $400 there. Or even worse, even more potentially based on how much I bought. But this is something that some individuals are continually doing. For example, you can see I'm tracking someone called Cupsy. This guy's managing to buy so many different tokens and he's in and out of tokens very, very quickly. For example, this coin called Lindo, you can see this guy managed to buy in $400 here, buy in another $100 here, and then he was out for $800 here for $300 profit. Most people just don't have the stomach for this. Not only do you have to be super quick, you have to know if a coin is a rug or not, and you have to be able to sell immediately once price moves in the correct direction. Also, you do have to be able to stomach losses because sometimes these traders do get rugged. If you're going to be trading tokens that are around 10 to 15K market cap, oftentimes you're going to eventually encounter some rugs, which means you're going to lose all of that capital. So you do need to be super, super careful when buying tokens. So right here, we can see another example of a coin that's just going absolutely vertical. And I don't want to do a live trade because it would be pretty embarrassing to lose money. But like I said, I've already shown you guys me going ahead and doing that mid-video. But it just goes to show that money can be made rather quickly. And you have to understand that you don't need to be trading these low cap coins where there's a risk of a rug. You could just find a coin that has extreme levels of volume that is just going up and down, it's swinging up and down. And then you could just bid when it goes down and sell when it goes up. I know that sounds like a super simplified explanation, but that's literally all people are trying to do. They're literally just trying to sell when the price increases. I wouldn't recommend this one for beginners. Of course, for advanced traders, if you have a platform like AXIOM, link down in the description below, this is going to be something that's easy for you guys to do. But then again, this is the remarkable strategy that I've seen, and it actually made me a ton of money when I was actively trading it. So I do know that this is a viable strategy for people that just have that knack of being able to quickly move. Now, let's go on to the last strategy. This is what we call sniping. This is the hardest meme coin strategy ever. Most people shouldn't even try to do this, but there are many individuals that do try to do this. And the reason they try to do this is because the rewards can be absolutely incredible. Sniping a token is where you try to buy a token immediately after launch and try to hold it for 100x, 200x gains. The reason that this is so difficult is because number one, there are millions and millions of tokens made every single day, probably if not hundreds of thousands of tokens made every single hour. And you have to filter out the scams from the genuine projects. It's so difficult to do so. The majority of the time, you end up losing the most of your money. But the times where you do actually get in early, you can make sizable gains that just simply aren't heard of. For example, most people would actually have this AXIOM filter, but what they wouldn't do is they wouldn't have it how I've set it, where you've actually got a filter, so you actually see nice coins coming up and you don't spot the rugs. But what you actually have is they actually reset this so they see every single pair as they are made. So for example, right here, Professor Sol, some people would just see this and they'd immediately just ape like whatever amount there is, hoping that it goes to like $1 million market cap. Now, if you do buy something in a 6K market cap and it goes to multi-million-dollar market caps, you've made like an 100x or 200x on your money, which is absolutely insane. But of course, when you're actually playing these games of actually buying meme coins this early, it's actually quite difficult to spot rugs. I mean, most tokens that you click on is going to be super, super hard to tell whether or not the token is being genuine or just trying to extract money from you. Oftentimes, even if there is a trending event, there are multiple tokens for the same event, which means that there's no real way to judge whether or not that token is the real one. Now, I will say though, after watching this again and again, you will start to get the hang of it because everything that you do in life, you'll be able to consistently get better at. The only thing here is that you do have to have a large bankroll, which essentially means that you better ensure that you have enough Solana to cover all of your losses, because you will likely have multiple losses in a row when you're trading coins that are at the 5 to 6K market cap, because so many of them are just plain rugs. For me, I literally just have mine on the $9,000 market cap, and that way I'm able to weed out all of the rugs that simply don't make it that far. Now, the video is not financial advice, but I would advise you, if you're gonna start trading meme coins, always start small. Most people put in too much they can afford to lose. And then by the end of the meme coins, they're thinking, well, I lost $600. I started, meme coins are a scam. I'm never doing this again. Meme coin trading is just like any other trading. You buy something, you hold it, you sell it for a profit. Most people forget that they're actively engaging in some form of trading, and that's why they do fail. So whatever strategy you do choose, whether it be to snipe meme coins early, scout meme coins on the day-to-day, or to find good projects and then hold them, ensure that you stick to your strategy and you put the necessary time in. Of course, there are different tools that I have and communities that you can join, but it's always good to actually stick to one strategy. That way you can master it. If you're going to be holding coins, eventually you're going to come across a community that actually goes the full 9 yards. Then, of course, in future, you'll know what to spot because you've been a part of a community that has made some success. Likewise, if you've made some good scalp trades in the future, you're going to be able to make some more good scalp trades again because you'll know what to see. And if you've sniped a good token before, you're likely going to get better at it in the future if you've sniped a few tokens and they've gone pretty viral. So overall, pick one strategy that suits your lifestyle, that suits your entire